everybody, and we may have a few late arrivals today that will start with the preliminaries, and that is what props you'll need ideally. One would be a wall, but in lieu of a wall, you could grab some sort of a chair, which we'll want anyway. So ideally a chair and a wall. I know a lot of props, but they can really help with certain things. So if you didn't have a wall, you could be doing, for example, the low lunge we're gonna do in a moment with your hands on top of your chair rather than pressing into a wall. But ideally, we're going to have both of these options, as I will show you a great hip flexor opener, which is essential for opening the ventral sheath, the front line of the body and back bending. And we'll be doing, again, just preview of coming attractions, one of my favorite and easy go-to poses that you should do every day, which is simply to go near a wall, have a padded chair, and kneel on the chair with one leg. You can kind of get your props sorted if you're just coming into class. Go into a little bit of a lunge with the back knee or shin on the chair, hands up the wall, and just sink into that front knee. Lift your chest, engage your core so there's not too much back bending. And that's going to be an excellent way to reset the low back and get it safely open for back bending. So when we go to advanced standing back bending postures, for example, dancer's pose, where I need to have that same leg I had on the chair in my hand, then I already know I've trained my samana vayu, my guts, if you will, my sacral chakra. Anything you want to describe this part of your body as in the low waist and the pelvis, I've trained it with the down pressure that I had moments ago on that chair, now into the hand, to find the same method of engagement, pushing down, this time into the hand. If I had a wall, I'd be using the wall, which we'll do, or those that are fancy pants, they just go into their Natrajasana, but not in an unsafe way where the back hip and the leg kick out or get into major asymmetry in the low back. So, chair, wall, and roll towel as usual. Or if you prefer, the foam roller I mentioned the other day is the desired roll for many, many folks. So today, again, for those arriving a little later, we're still continuing our journey in the ventral sheath, the front line of the body, and trying to get into some back bends in a safe way, monitoring our bodies, monitoring our energy systems, remembering that classically in yoga we have 3 states of energy, and that is the tamasic, rajasic, and sattvic state. Say that 3 times fast, and you're better off than I am. But they basically mean tamasic is very stolid, unmoving, a lot of potential energy, but it's just, think of like ice or earth. It's solid, but it's not very active. And people in a tamasic state are just maybe a little lethargic, maybe just waking up, or maybe they just, their nature is slow moving and ponderous. And then we have on the top end the state of rajas, rough translation, kingly, like Raja, the Maharaja. And that's when people that kind of, probably you know, some of these are kind of always bouncing off the walls and egos are a little bit elevated. By the way, in yoga, we don't think of ego as being necessarily a negative thing. It's just a thing. It's a part of the self-being, the individual self-awareness. Neither good nor bad. Freud made it into kind of an evil empire. But that being said, Rajas is very fast-moving, quick. Hey, get this done. We've all been in that hyper-caffeinated state. And then right in the middle, sattvic state. So this is held up as the ideal middle ground, aware of the calm. And so checking in with these states, because backbending, to get back to our primary narrative here, can create the rajasic state of rajas, the wiry state. Okay, so if you find yourself getting a bit wiry, heady, caffeinated, then you know what's going on. So of course we start grounded and sitting, and we do our pranayama. And just placing the hands comfortably on the knees or sliding them back a little toward the hips so that the upper arm bones lay vertically down. Close your eyes and feel the vertical presence of your spine, your sitting bones plugged in like twin prongs of a socket, plug into a socket of the floor. That tamasic earth energy is there. Then we bring in prana, inhale, exhale. Keep going. First several can be mouth opening enterprises. And then deep dive down into those lower ribs. Move into the diaphragm. We'll go for another 10 or so. Again, even pranayama can be a exploration of these three states of energy. And those that tend to heave their chest rather than breathe downward into the lower lobes of the lungs, diaphragm, the belly, tend to get wiry. One more inhale, one more exhale, release and pause. Tongue spreads out in the mouth in a sattvic way. The diaphragm is relaxed. Think of a Buddha belly. Shoulders relaxed. And think of the pause as a reminder or an opportunity to dissolve and get rid of any tensions that, like leeches, cling to your body and your mind. Let your body be hollow, empty, paused. Let out the junk. There's not a lot of junk. You can often just pause for a while, but now we'll inhale if you're ready. We'll bring in the clear, clean prana. We'll fill the heart center, the shoulders begin to blossom like the petals of the flower. The brain, with its many petals and nerve endings, begins to come on board. You can imagine this, or you eventually feel this. Then you exhale, forward fold, which traditionally would be a bow down to the earth, right? Or a bowing to your inner guru, your real guru, and even the notion or the motion of placing the head down so that the frontal brain becomes less important. As you take 5 breaths into the back sheath of the body, the dorsal sheath, the back ribs, you have twin operations of stretching the back, starting with the kidneys, and reducing, relaxing the front sheath of the body, that wiry enterprise we're going to get to. Come up out of your bow. Let's take a little rotation to the left before we do the next one. Right hand across, left knee, lift the chest. And exhale, push the left fingertips down into the earth, somewhere behind your tailbone or your entire palm. And just get that spinal rotation. And we go to the other side, left palm to right knee, hook up. Create mild antagonism or continuation between the knee and the hand. Big inhale, exhale, rotate. Back to center, here we go again, round 2, inhale. Exhale, now you may feel, if you close your eyes, the advantage of doing a little rotation gets you into more of the spaces between the back ribs, which may have been sticky. Let the breath flow and feed the body. Quality of sound in the back of the throat, slight closure of the glottis. Feed the brain with a gentle music, releasing the eye strain, the frontal brain strain, as you retune your inner ear. One more inhale, one more exhale. Let the cat out of the bag, so to speak. Relax the throat. Solar plexus, brain, and sit in your pause. If you're more of an internal yogi, you feel the 7 points along the spine. And you're not holding your breath. It's really important to, I think, make this distinction. We've released the breath, and now we're just seeing, we're noticing that you don't need to gulp another breath right away. When you need the breath, though, you inhale. Feels really good after waiting, like waiting for a fine meal to be served. Then you just eat that little meal, 10 seconds, taste it in the throat, tongue relaxed. Exhale, you dive in, out of the earth yourself. Feel on a practical level the movement of, or gentle stretch and spreading of the kidneys. And then we come up. Let's take a little rotation to the left. Right fingers across the left knee. Inhale. Exhale. Press the sit bones down. Breathe. A little lean down into that right shoulder. A little push down through the left palm. Just breathe into the spiral rib cage, opening the right side, closing the left. Other side, simple stuff. Left hand, right knee. Inhale, fill, exhale. Find your total body geometry and breathe into it. Spiral geometry. Investigate, release unnecessary tensions. And then release. One more time, here we go. Inhale, exhale. You slow and deepen the breath. Can you perhaps close the mouth? Start to feel the path of the breath through the nasal passages, over the upper palate, the back of the throat. Down through the point of the heart, the upper lungs. And you go deeper down into the lower lungs. More awareness generally comes more easy slowness and delight in the process. One more inhale. One more witnessing of exhale. Dissolve tensions in the paraspinals, the shoulders, and the internal line of all the chakra points. Melt into the deep front line of the body. You've got a nice butterscotch cough drop in your mouth, and it's sensation drizzling down the back of the throat into the belly. When you feel the inhale, you take it. If not, you wait, you savor. The breath provides the tensegrity, the upper blossom, heart center, and then exhale. Final forward fold if you want to switch the cross of your legs for equal opportunity at our hips. And if you're not a big forward bender, you're going to your options of yoga blocks, chairs. I've shown you many times the forearms on the chair. You come up, and we'll come to standing. So, standing, we'll swing and spiral. As we did last week, the spiral sheath is a useful tool for the ventral sheath. And you can feel this as you go side to side, just get your vines that exist in your body, entwining up the legs, entwining around the arms, and the spine gets contracted on one side that you're rotating toward and open on the other. Just warming things up. And we'll just do a little reach up to the sky. Inhale, exhale. We're going to just swing our arms like swing set and just let the arms swing along the sides of the hips if you bend your knees. Inhale, the legs straighten. Exhale. So we're letting the breath go, and then we're taking the breath in. Up you go. Plug the legs into the earth. Exhale. Swing. One more inhale. Maybe a mini back bend. Toning the backs of the legs, if you remember that. Exhale. And now drop your opposite elbows forward, bend with bent knees. Let the anchor of the head draw along the spine, the rope of the spine. Slowly breathe from the low back to the mid back to the upper back. All those vertebrae, let them stretch open. Eventually drop your hands to the floor. You can go as deep as you want without force, using your breath in that dorsal sheath. And any of the techniques I've shown you in the past. To come up, we bend the knees, we come up with a rounded spine, head is last. Now we're going to go to the wall. Again, if you came in late, you could use a chair instead of the wall. With your hands on the top of the chair, like so. So we're going to take our towel roll back for our back knee, just as we did on Monday class. We're going to set the right knee on the towel roll, mainly for the purposes of comfort. And then we either have folks that have the top of the chair, or better yet, if you've got it, you're going to go right into the wall. So take a peek. I know Anne doesn't like having to look around, and that's fine. This is pretty simple, so once you get it, you don't have to look at me. We're going to take the left toes a few inches from the wall, and the right knee is on the towel roll, palms to the wall. And we're going to just breathe here, keeping the breath coming into the chest, through the arms, like a balloon, helium balloon. Exhale as we sink down. We're going to remember to tone. We're going to tone the back of that right leg to keep ourselves from collapsing into the wall. And just breathe. Those that want a little more vinyasa, a little more work, since it's Wednesday, keep your right toes curled under. You can inhale, lift the right knee off the ground. And exhale, set it back down. Otherwise, all you have to do is breathe, make connection into the wall. And again, toning, if you weren't here Monday, this upper back right hamstring. You don't have to have a huge separation between the feet. Now we're going to walk our hands over to the left slightly, and you can reach your right hand up the wall a little bit higher and just start to look to your left diagonal and rotate a little bit. Chest to the left, not much. Okay, let's come back to center. Now all of us can tuck our right toes under. We're going to come up with that back knee. And so take a peek first if you're facing away from the camera. Now all I'm going to do is slide my left foot back away from the wall. Okay? And now what I want you to try and do is, with the hands at shoulder height, you're going to just lift that back foot off the ground. So take a peek, I'm going to put it down, and then I'm going to just lift it up, curling the right knee, bending the right knee, and then put it down like a warrior one stance. So what the heck are we doing here? And I can pull the hands down the wall to lift my chest up, and then I step back. All we're doing is firing up the back of this right hamstring. In lieu of having a gym, you don't need a gym. Let the knees be fairly close together, or at least hip width. So pretty easy, and I can push my hands down as I hover and lift up, and then push them into the wall. Keep the upper body pretty stabilized. Okay, and now let's put the feet together. We're going to step our left foot back. Now you know the game. And we get the left knee on the towel, hands to wall, breathe. Low lunge. Feel the breath through the arms, lift the chest. On inhales, you exhale, just keep a little tone in the back of that left hamstring. That's going to start to stretch the front hip flexor. In the front of the left hip rather. And this could be your game. You yin yoga people just love it. Breathe into it, keep your pranayama going, and bake open that left hip. Otherwise, motion people, rajasic people, versus tamasic, you're going to go ahead and keep your left toes under. You're going to lift and drop. Lift and drop. When you stop, feel that little antagonistic movement, toning the back of the left leg and then stretching the front. Now we're all going to come up and we're going to just push your hands to the wall. You can just step your right foot back a little bit and set your left heel into warrior one if you're trying to push the wall down. And then inhale, you can scrape your hands down the wall, lift up and balance on your right leg, and bend your left knee. Exhale, step back, warrior one, pushing into the wall. Inhale, curl the left knee. And that's all we're doing, just doing leg curl. You might be strong, you might be weak. Who knows? And then we step the feet together and take the hands away from the wall. Now, and you can turn toward the video if you need to just watch your screen. We've done this before. We're going to wall crawl. So we're going to get about a foot from the wall. We're going to lift our heels up, reach our hands up, inhale, look up, and then exhale, sink down through Utkatasana. The hands slide down the wall like a cat trying to jump up and grab the top of the curtains, if you've ever had a Siamese cat in your life. And then sit the hips down and gain. Inhale, exhale. That's the whole game. As you sink down, now you can just listen and participate against your wall. If you didn't have a wall, of course, and you have highly skilled, you could just imagine your wall. As you sink down into your Utkatasana, remembering to tone along the outer hips. Okay, and then coming up, And another forward fold. This time you can go right into the wall. So if you're new, watch. And I get away from the wall and I drop down with bent knees and I walk my back, part of my back into the wall with bent knees and just lay into the wall. Lean into the wall. Or as they say, lean into it. Even the back of the skull. I don't try to force my legs to straight yet. And I just breathe as deeply down the spine as I can. Little massage, you can go from left to right on the paraspinals. Enjoy it. I like to keep my knees bent. You progressively slide more and more of your spine down, but keep your hands on the floor so you don't do a face plant. Stay there as long as it pleases you. But when you are ready to come up, slide one foot, the other foot back away from the wall first, bend your knees and come up slowly with a rounded spine. Okay, so let's go ahead and move away from that delightful wall for a second and come to the front of the mat. And we'll just take one sun A to see how our bodies are feeling. With the feet together and toned, we'll reach up, inhale, and exhale, fold. Come to a flat back. You can either press your long arms into the ground or bring the hands to the shins and push palms into shins with straight arms, creating a flat back. And then plant the hands, that one foot and the other foot back to your high plank, if you can do that. And then drop your knees down, take your child's pose or your puppy dog pose, keeping your toes curled under. Extended child's pose with toes curled under. Breathe open your chest, remembering the sensation of the palms to the wall. Now it's palms to mat, pushing. And then lift your hips up to your first downward dog. Pedal out your feet, pedal out your palms. Feel the sensation on the skin of the palms, the soles of the feet, as the most delightful experience of your day. And cats certainly do. And then you're going to come back to your hands and knees, maybe through plank pose, and down you come. So sit back on your heels or cross-legged and take a peek. What we're going to do now with the wall, we've done it before in our quest to just hold this back of the legs. So we're going to take hands and knees, and we're going to just take our left foot not that high. So we should be able to peek back at the toes into the wall and breathe. Okay, and pushing your left heel into the wall, more specifically, think about the inner heel. I'm not way up like Orezhkinov, right? I'm just a modern mortal being. But the breath is in through the chest, through the palms, and then you're feeling the tone in the back of the upper left leg. Nice steady breath. Exhale, the knees come together, and inhale, the left heel goes back. Now, if you didn't have a wall, you could just hover. I suppose you could put the leg on the chair, but don't fret. And you make your points of contact. Left shin, both palms, right inner heel, and I breathe. And I'm toning the back of this upper right leg, making it solid. And then we go for a little walk. Now we're going to inhale, push left leg into the wall, and exhale, knees together. And all we're going to go for a little crawl and just see what goes on. So those that are show-offs, and I'm only a show-off because then I can show those. Could push one leg into the wall, the palms down, lift the bottom shin off the ground, then set it down. But that's for the few that just need to do these sort of things, tone their core. The most important thing is the sensation in the back upper hamstring, right under your sitting bone, that is toning. It's good. Okay, how about a little toes curled puppy dog? Sit the hips back. And then up to your downward dog. Can you feel the tone in the backs of the legs, even though they're being stretched, so it's more dynamic here? In your down dog, breathe the length into the arms. Let the head be comfortable and long. And then come to your high plank position and come down to your knees again. So you can sit back and watch, or those that know where I'm going, I'm going to take the left heel to the wall again, but now I'm going to open it up. I'm going to take our left fingertips and prop them open as we look left and start to rotate left toes out to the side. And toning the back of this left hammy and using the wall may allow some of you to take your right hand up to your hip, like a kneeling half moon. Now you can spank your hammy, get in touch with yourself, as I say. And now you've got a solid contracted hamstring. Some are so stable here that they can even come away from the wall, or do a leg curl here and start to curl and press the left leg. Curl and press. That's up to you. And typically what you do is you curl and you grab that foot with your left hand. But if you just go there, you may not have the strength building that we're trying to achieve. Then we come down, bring the knees together, try the other side, right? Heel into the wall, not too high, push, breathe, and now you start to come up on your right fingertips. If you turn your right toes to the right, peek to the right, push into the wall, you might be able to come up like Dorothy Hamill. And just feel the strength in the back of this back leg, upper hamstring. If you're balanced, keeping your right hand on your hip, you can curl and then extend the right leg. Just see how that feels. Maybe you can grab the right leg, some of you. But keep the attenuation in the back of that right upper hamstring. Kick to the wall, hands to earth, hips square, and then down to child's pose. You got to iron out any asymmetries. Downward dog from hands and knees. And see how downward dog's feeling now. Breathe into the full range of downward dogs. Back ribs are lengthening and opening like a parachute. And then the legs, the backs of the legs are drilling down to the heels. Then your knees look forward, step or jump, feet to hands. Come to a flat back, hands on shins or floor. Exhale, forward fold. So bend your knees, come up through chair pose, inhale, and exhale, standing. Let's flow again. Sane, toning the backs of the legs. So remember, reach up, toning into mild back bend as you ascend from the structure of the backs of the legs. Exhale, now we stretch the backs of the legs that we just stretched. and straightened. And then lengthen flat back, and then hop or step to plank pose. And then drop to your knees again. Sit back to Virasana, stretching your anterior tibialis. So all this is about now just teaching you how to use the backs of the legs and how to bend your knees. So watch this one. Normally we need to do in our sun salutation our movement through upward dog, which we've been omitting. So watch first, I come to hands and knees, inhale. Exhale, I start to come forward with my shoulders and I just pull the feet up. And then you rock back. That's all you're going to do at first. Inhale, hands and knees, and then lift. And go ahead and point your toes like that. Okay, that's the deal. Do it 20 times. Inhale, coil the backs of the legs. Now maybe some of you can come a little further forward. But don't get into a hyper arch of your low back, or else you'll be very sorry. And don't let your knees get too far apart. Extra credit, pin the knees together and do it. Okay, so here we go. We're in halfway back toward child's pose. We inhale, chest comes forward. We coil the backs of the legs, bend the knees. Yeah, and that's going to lift the chest even higher up. And exhale. Just work it with your breath like a rocking horse. This time, I'm going to come all the way down into my belly and straighten my legs down. Come to easy cobra on your forearms. So again, not too far apart with the knees. Can you just lift one foot up, inhale, and exhale, push it down. Lift the other one up, push it down. How does that feel on your low back? Do you remember how to push your pubic bone down into the earth, like we did yesterday into the towel roll as you do this? Little bit of lift. Go easy if it hurts your low back. Now, can I do both legs? I'm gonna, just for safety's sake, I'm gonna put my palms down together, put my head on my palms, and start with one leg and the other, like this. It's gonna feel better on your low back. And then I'm gonna see if I can lift both legs up. Inhale and exhale, push down. Then you're at the gym, you're doing leg curls with resistance. Three more. Go easy. Keep that pelvis pushing into the earth as your legs lift. Now plant your feet straight down, the tops of the feet. Keep them straight. Unfurl your palms to the sides of your shoulders and inhale, lift through cobra using the attenuation of the backs of the legs. Normal cobra. Wow, as I squeeze those upper hamstrings, they allow me to come deep into the pose. And then carefully come back to child's pose so that if there were any hyperextensions in your low back, you iron them out and then come up to your downward dog to iron them out even more. Breathe. Lengthen the arms. Lift the chest toward the drop chin. Slide the shoulder blades apart. Anchor the heels down. Bend your knees, look forward, inhale, jump or step. Flat back. And fold, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, the knees bend, you come up. And then standing. Now we try to put it together using the back of the leg technology. But first, let's take a station break for a back bend. Now you're learning to tone the backs of these legs, grab them, squeeze them, and then transfer the hands to the low back. Slide your sit bones down, lift your chest. Potato chip curl with attenuation of backs of legs. The show offs go all the way back. Ah. So that's what's back there. And you don't lift your head if you're a drop backer. You don't jerk your head back up from the back bend. You wait until the last piece. So everything comes up and then the head. Otherwise, there's trouble in River City. Okay, so now that you've opened your ventral line, your sun salutation is so happy as you come up, inhale, exhale now. We stretch the backs of the legs that we just toned, keeping some tone. Even as we stretch, lift, flat back, and step one leg then the other, or jump back if you're in Ashtangi, and drop to your knees. Now we're going to come through the upward dog or the cobra in the same way we did before. We're going to bend our elbows tight to our ribs. The chest comes forward, start to come down, and chest goes down. And let's lift the legs up for a second. Bending the knees, now place them down, place the head down. Using that action, come all the way up through cobra. Toning the backs legs, maybe lifting the hips off the ground too. Put the knees down, child's pose break. Downward dog. Spread the fingers, thumb bones, pushing down, base of big toes, pushing down. Collarbones opening. All the actions of the back bend helping with the downward dog. Now let's bring our feet together in down dog. Can we take one leg, the left leg back, and up the wall, just like we did on hands and knees. So if this is confusing for beginners, come down and do it like we did before with your kneeling position. Otherwise, three-legged dog, pushing the left heel into the wall, toning the back of the left hammy. And then when that's nice and baked, switch feet. Left foot down, right foot up the wall. Toning the back of the right hamstring. And then both feet down and drop down to hands and knees and sit on your heels. So all the yoga poses that you do generally are taught in a way that's not so attenuated. Even a simple three-legged dog, just lifting that leg. How do we lift the leg? We need the hamstring muscle on the back of the leg. And that's where we're going to now go to just a little bit more as we take a downward dog for a breath. And then step or jump the feet to the hands, lift to the flat back, and fold. Chair pose brings you up, and then standing. So, a simple standing split. Here's where the chair and the wall are going to help you. So we're going to take the chair forward. And again, this is just a repeat of what we did moments ago with one-legged or wall, three-legged dog, or hands and knees, one leg to the wall. But now with chair, or you could have two yoga blocks, doesn't bother me. I'm going to just set up so that I can create a right angle, my left foot to the wall like that, and my I love the chair because it really sets up the geometry. And what am I doing? I'm just strengthening this back of this left leg. Do I need the wall? No, I don't. But something about it helps. And then the feet together, the other leg. Again, think about the inside of the heel more than the outside, but don't worry too much. And just tone the back of the right leg. Simple stuff. This is how you pull off a warrior three. You got to build this back of the legs. And then feet together, forward fold. So once you strengthen the backs of the legs, you stretch them. And your knees, chair pose, inhale, up you come. Part two. Watch first. I put the left foot into the wall, and this is for the experienced folks. Now, just like we did on our knees, we turn out to the left. Left toes turn, we pivot, and we fire up. Get this back of the left leg. We've got a chair-supported half moon. So really fire this muscle. Now, go ahead and play, don't look at me, but those that know where I'm going know that we did the leg curls. So what if you took the left foot away from the wall and curled and then pressed? Now I'm on some weird contraption that you don't even see at the gym where I'm learning to curl and coil the back of the left leg. And this, the yoga teachers call candy cane. They eventually have you grab your left leg in your left hand and open that left hip flexor in the side or lateral plane. But be careful that you don't do this just by yanking on the foot. So contract the left hammy. This is for the advanced crowd, obviously. Then you square off, both hands to chair, feet together. Take a breath, and then the right side. Right leg up the wall. Tone the heck out of that right hamstring. And then pivot the right toes to the right. And you bring your right hand to your right hip. Just tone this whole back leg. I like the wall, but you don't need it. Be balanced. If you have problems with balance, maybe you're looking down at your chair. Advanced folks can come off the wall and do your leg curls. And maybe grab that right foot with the right hand and take that variation, Ardha Chandrasana. But use the musculature in the back of the upper right hamstring to let it happen. It's a completely radical experience if you haven't done it. So much stronger, so much more control. You square off, feet together, forward fold for 5 to 10 breaths while I grab my water. Okay, so come up to standing, and now we do a little self-test. We're getting to our peak pose. Remember peak poses, which is Natrajasana. And you can do another self-test, feet together, and just, can you lift the leg up, one leg, and independently, not just grab it with the hand, that's cheating. You keep your knees pretty together. And just see how it's going in this quest of that strength. So here's the chair version of what we started with class, which is the one I said is your go-to pose every day. I'm going to take a nice, hopefully padded chair, but padded if you need to, near the wall. I showed you this if you came in early. I'm going to kneel on my left shin, Chair is about 2.5, 3 feet away from the wall. The right toes go to the wall, and the hands come up the wall. Or I can take my forearms into the wall parallel, like dolphin pose. Lift the chest, inhale and exhale. Fire up, contract the back of this left hamstring. And you're gonna, hopefully you can feel this. This is a stretch of the hip flexor in the front of that left hip, but you've got the muscle power supporting it in the back of the leg. You can walk the hands a little higher, a little back, but you can look up. But you don't give up your tether. If you're really loving that, stay for a few more breaths. Otherwise, we switch sides. And the right knee goes on the, or shin on the chair, and the left toes to the wall. And either your straight arms or your forearms, take your chest forward and up. Then you drop into a lunge, bending your left knee. But you remember, you're going to fire up the back of this right hand. And you just let that hip flexor stretch happen. Breathe into it. So it's dynamic in terms of the muscularity of the stretch. And it's not a passive stretch. So now what have we got? Let's stand and just feel it out. Now we see, and some will need a chair or you can use the wall. I'll just show you. You should have now all the gear you need in the legs to affect a really nice dancer's pose. So here are the variations. One, the Sattvic middle ground. There's a chair here to put one of your hands. Take your left toes back. You coil the muscles in the back of the hamstring to bring the foot to your hand. Reach up with your right hand, inhale. Still coiling the back of that leg, you start to come down, bending your front knee. Maybe you get to the top of the chair, the feet top, and you keep that hamstring in the left leg, keeping you safe, so you could maybe pop right back up. Some of you looking at that saying, not a chance. You use the wall. So if I were to do the right side, I'm about hands, arms width away from the wall. I slide my right leg back. I zip up from the back of the knee to the right hand knee. Brings the foot into the hand. Up comes the left hand, inhale. And I start to slightly bend the front knee and just place my left fingertips into the wall. This is just mirroring what we did with our shin on the chair, except now the shin is held by the hand. And you're still working strength back here. As if I don't need to even be holding the foot. Go for it. Experienced folks, the sky's the limit. So my test is always, can I come back up out of the depth of the pose? So if I'm going to drop down into a deep, deep Natrajasana, right leg back, coil it, catch it, and start to bring it down. And I'm going to show off. I'm going to bring that hand to the floor. I got to be able to use that coiling in the back leg to pull me back up without disaster striking, right? So I'm just showing you what's possible. Coil the back line. That'll bring the back, but keep your coil action in the lower body then the sky's the limit, or the floor is the limit for your descent. Doesn't really matter, it's just interesting to see. That's it. Let's forward fold, making sure their low backs are intact. Bend your knees quite a bit. And then kick your toes out like a duck and sit down to Malasana for further back therapy if you were over Rajasic in your non-Rajasic efforts. And notice that Rajas is in Natarajasana, Natar Rajasana. Straight legs, forward fold. Maybe bend the knees. And either Shavasana or recommendation for a little plow pose, roll back to the wall. Or to use my patented towel method in the low back, starting with bridge pose and taking the towel into your low back, and then pulling your knees into your body to nourish your low back before taking the feet to the wall. Again, the good old forward fold to mitigate any imperfections in the back bending sheath. Stay to your heart's content, but when you come down, remove your towel roll, slide your legs long, and do take a few breaths, if not several minutes, after class in Shavasana to relinquish any fruits of your labors. Give those fruits to the yoga gods. But when you're ready, rolling to the side, coming up to close off class. And seeing how your energy is now.